Good evening and welcome to tonight's Hearthstone half hour or thereabouts. I'm Hammy, this is FailCraft Casts. Hope you're well and you are good. We are going to be laddering and learning. It's Ladder Wednesday, so what we do on a Ladder Wednesday is we grab some decks, we hit the ladder with them wherever we're at, we look at not only the deck that we're playing and play through it and see how it's running, but we also take a look at what we're playing against on the ladder and study the meta and similar, what decks are showing up, how our decks work against other decks, and just sort of break it all down as we go. So we're doing a bit of Aggro Mage, so you may have seen on our new player Monday this week that we decided to go for this Aggro Mage. You can see in the right hand column, list-wise, apparently it hit Legend in October, and it is oh so simple. And there's a cereal in the UK called Oats So Simple. No prizes for guessing what that cereal is made of, but this is a really nice deck in terms of there's no legendary stuff going on, there's no throwing around of legendaries by Lothar. He's a free legendary, as it were, if you jump into Naxx. And that aside, it's got a lot of solid basic cards, a couple of rares. Okay, just Blood Mode Thanos I've got, but he is very, very replaceable. So we're playing a Shaman. I've got what is actually a really nice start, so I'm going to keep that. Good evening, Raj. How are you doing? And with this aggro deck, the concepts behind it are fairly simple. You can either go the Undertaker start, which is massive death rattles, and in fact I've got the opportunity to go into that Undertaker start here, or you can go into a Mana Worm start, into Mirror Images. There's lots of nasty options. So we were promised Doge. The cam is up, said if he's not too warm, I've left the door open. Maybe he'll be in, maybe not. And even Nuska, for those of you wondering, at the camera in the bottom right hand corner, that's dog cam, whenever Shep the dog comes back up. Okay, so we've got two different, this is interesting because we can go two different routes. We can go the Death Rattle route, or we can go the Spell route. Now as we're a Shaman, I'm going to, so let's try going the Spell route. These are the two different starts for this deck. I can either start doing stuff with Mana Worm and throwing cheap spells, or I can start throwing down Undertakers if I have them and throwing the Death Rattles. Now the Death Rattle becomes more powerful. There's quite a few Death Rattles in here, and he's gone straight for the removal with Rockbiter. Actual fact, maybe throwing the Undertaker and baiting that before doing the other play would have been the slightly wiser plan, because in this situation, if he'd killed the Undertaker, I would have then been able to throw down the Mana Worm and throw down the Mirror Image, and that would have immediately buffed them up. Card expansion teasers. Am I just ridiculously behind? The Hearthstone Inn draws some interesting patrons. Ooh, yes, the themes. So you're talking about the Hearthstone Inn. Very, very nice. Have they put out some more stuff on? Ooh, might have to do a little news video on that. I'm going to throw that a quick retweet. You're talking about this post, I take it? There's a post saying the Hearthstone Inn draws some interesting patrons on Twitter. Yes. Okay, so turn 2. Let's go back. I can double Undertaker. That is quite a nice play. I'm happy with that. Now he can't get rid of both. Okay, so looking at our deck, we're now going the Death Rattle route. Down comes a corner. I fully expect to see something like a Lightning Storm. No, Harvest Golem. Definitely going in for the tempo cards to get the trading back. So now we have some nice options here. I can either go for the Blood Mage or I can go for the Haunted Creeper. Decisions, right, well, either way I can buff these up to 2-3, and then the Mirror Image will slow down so I can deal with that Harvest Golem. The spell damage +1, not hugely going to help. I'm going to go for the Haunted Creeper. Two nicely buffed cards there, and with my two Mages down, I'm going to start rushing in and getting some pressure on the hero. So we have the Spell route with the Mana Worm early game. We have the Death Rattle route 2. And there's a Lightning Storm. So bunch of removal there. We were expecting a lightning storm to be coming out. 2 overload, going to be slowed down next turn. Removed my tanks, and our shaman can of course come in to start swinging in with that harvest golem. So our deck here, we're against shamans. Shamans have got a nice chunk of control. Could be Pollient. I'm not going to poly at this stage. He has kind of thrown a bit of a reset on the table. I'm going to trade one of those off so I can keep the Blood Mage up if I need to. So with our options here, he is of course overloaded. He can just totem. Down goes an Earthshock, silencing and dealing 1. Perfect removal to that. So what I need to do is start pushing forwards. Frostbolt will... Do I want to Frostbolt at this point in time? I'm going to go for it and see how it goes. Remember, we are an aggro deck really. We should be trying to do as much damage to the face as possible. Oh, if that's the only reason you came. I shall not be so bold as to promise Doge next time. Oh, you guys. Let's throw that sheep down. So I've gone for a very aggressive polymorph there. Now if I had enough damage to sort of see through and whack the shaman down further, but this is a delicate situation. Could have thrown down the dancing swords. That's nicer to drop turn 3. Healing totem comes down, Argus buffs up, and this is where my aggro is now running out of steam. Shaman, not a very easy matchup for this deck. There's a Leponome we could have done with him a little bit earlier. And of course, whatever I do damage to with this is now just going to get re-healed minion-wise. So I may as well just do some direct damage to the face, get dancing swords down. I'm not entirely sure that we're going to be able to aggro through here as much as we would like, but we can give it a good go. So already we are in troubles. The shaman has got his or her control cards out, has been zapping away at our various minions, has sort of halted our rush. Outcoming a Hex, interesting. Dropping down a Taunt there. Now this is looking a little bit dicey for us. And out with a Mana Totem, this could very well be it. We don't really have anything to punch through this. There's no Flame Strike or anything in this deck to do removal. Sure, I can throw an Arcane Intellect, and we can grab some secrets, but it's going to be quite tough at this stage. I think just throwing down the Scientist and the swords is all we can really do. We can't aggro through, although we've put his health down by half. He's got his tanks up, and we can't punch through those just yet. Next turn, of course, we can throw in the Scientist, get rid of the healing. Throw in the swords, get rid of that. He's still just drawing and drawing and drawing with that Manatide Totem the longer we leave it on the table. So we are not in the finest of places. As with any aggro deck, unless we get control in the early game, then we are going to be having some troubles. And down goes a Gadgets and Auctioneer. Could be seeing a Miracle Shaman here. He's, drew a card, and that card costs 3 less. And he's already got a Manatide to draw cards. This could be painful. So the shaman has bridged nicely, kept me under control. So we get into the late game, I fully expect some nasty late game finishes. Lightning Bolt for 0. And that can actually take that out, which will let him almost... Well, he can trade a minion for it if he likes, draw another card. He's got a 0. Yep, there you go. And there's another card draw. Rolling on through and just starting to hit me in the face now. So the first thing I need to do is kind of remove that healing totem, but that has been restored to 3. Another card draw. This could well be the end. So first things first, going to remove that healing totem. Draw a Mana Worm in. Actually, due to the low attack, I actually keep my Scientist alive. So that may let me trade for a second time, but look how full my opponent's hand is full of cards. So that is never going to be a good position. Playing quite slow here, but there's an Earthshock, Silence and 1. Getting the Drawgles with the Gadgets and Auctioneer. And no secret for me because of the silence. For science he may say, but in trouble we certainly are. And down goes his own Loteb, meaning that I can't even play any spells. So, although this is not lost, this is certainly awkward. That's looking as though it might be going downhill. Real bad, real fast. And you're getting attacked with a Manatide Totem, and if a Manatide Totem has been on the table for 3 or 4 turns, you can just see, where's my Frostbolt? 7 damage ain't going to cut it. 5, 10, 15. Let's get ourselves into another game. So that is a really good example of, ooh, as we drop down to rank 20, quite a problematic matchup for this particular vein of aggro. If we are mega controlled in the early game, we're going to have big, big problems. We did see the lightning storm come out there. A rogue, not seen one of these for a while. There are various tempo rogues and variations going around. We had what actually looked like a pretty good start there. So I'm going to keep those. I could aggressively mulligan away the Creeper and similar, but as I'm going second, I've dropped an Undertaker as well, so that's actually fine. I'm going to go with Undertaker leading to Creeper, and we'll see if the Rogue goes hyper aggressive. So Undertaker, I can drop into a Creeper, I can then drop into an Arcane or similar. If I throw down a Mana Worm, I've got Frostbolt and Queen as well to double buff it. So we'll get some pressures in. Dagger Mastery goes down. Just going straight for the face. Interesting. So not deciding to deal with my Undertaker. However, that weapon can get buffed in various ways. So down goes my Haunted Creeper, and then I attack to the face. 2-3. I can then Haunted Creeper again next go to make that 3-4. And then by that stage I've got quite a nice powerful table. So we're starting to slowly get ahead, to get to table control. Of course there are such things as Blade Flurry that can, along with a Deadly Poison, increase the attack on the weapon, destroy the weapon, deal the attack damage of the weapon to all enemies. It's not just enemy minions, it's enemies. So let's fire a ball out of the catapult, as one must do. So a nice start. I mean, this has fallen as more of a death rattle start rather than a spell start with the Mana Worm. They're sort of 2 basic starts, I feel. There goes another Wep. There goes a Deadly Poison, and that can remove this before it gets any more nasty. Nicely done. So the control coming in so far. Still got a 3 damage weapon that can be used to cause me some problems. Now, Haunted Creeper I could use to, the Spectral I could use to do further buffing. I'm just going to Frostbolt that in there, keep the aggro to the face. I can Arcane Intellect, and Arcane could have been an option. I can throw down Haunted Creeper if I want next go to continue the pressure. So we now have a Frozen Mage, down goes in a Nubar, Death Rattle, return a random friendly to your hand, Rogue only minion, pretty nasty. So for that reason, when these die, we will summon 2 spiders, do not forget. So there's no way I can control it. I could just roll with it in this sense. I'm not going to destroy it. Oh, 1 chip damage there. So he could decide to go for some trades. Now if I destroy this, oh, not quite. So I could take that Ambusher out with my Dragon. I think I shall, because that gives me table control. Now, even if I sacrifice this Haunted Creeper, I'll get another 2 chip damage. He does have the 3. I fully expect him to go for the Knife Juggler, and then he's got a 5-drop. So, there you go, predicted move, removing the Knife Juggler threat. Betrayal would do 1 to its minions next to it. Well, fair enough. Minor removal. Betrayal, of course, would be a bit more strong, larger minions. Eviscerate, okay, gets the combo damage, actually goes for the face. Interesting. Direct aggression from the rogue, even when I've got minions on the table. So I'm going to Knife Juggler into Arcane, I think. Actually, I'm just going to Arcane to start with. Knife Juggler may not be the play. Thanos. I'm going to Knife Juggler in the knowledge that he's probably going to get aggressive and try and remove it. But we're in a good position. We're quite aggressive. We've got table control, we've got a health lead. So we've got our fundamental things that we wanted out of starting aggressive and really pushing in the early game. Second, a Nubar Ambusher. Can we remove for 2 mana? It's going to be hard. Cold Blood. He is just making that a big beast. You can see what his combos are in this deck. Trying to cause us a few problems. Okay, so what do? Well, Fireball instantly cures this problem for me. Now, with Fireballs, it's do I do this to the face, or do I do this to minions to control? Now, most of the time in an aggro deck, you're going to want to do it to the face. In that particular situation, I'm pretty happy with removing that minion because I've managed to get rid of 2 of those Nubar Ambushes, keep his side of the table well under control. And if you're live, I do apologise, I'm just refreshing my chat window. It seems to have gone a little bit stally. And we managed to keep some pressure down. Down goes a sap, returns minion to hand. He's now really fishing at the control cards. So, feeling pretty good. Eviscerate. Note that he just keeps on throwing eviscerates to my face, but the minions are left on the table. So I can use that to my advantage. Okay, right. Fairly straightforward play here. I'm going to Knife Juggler. I'm going to Thanos. Keep on thinking Thanos out of the Marvel universe rather than Thanos. And then just a Frostbolt to the face. And then we are lethal because I can throw down a coin. And there we go. So hooray. Down 1 up 1. And that was a nice example of how the aggro in this deck can finish everything off. I think we were done by turn 7 there. Which is good. Indeed, as Raj says, as Buff says, BlizzCon in 2 days. I'm virtual ticketed up and ready to roll. The Shades of Ashzara, as folk have mentioned. And as Reginald has also mentioned, teasers. Teasers, we have something goblin looking and more. Drop in on @Play Hearthstone on Twitter most days. Well, welcome to you, Thrash. They do indeed. So we're now playing Mage, and this is not quite a spell start, but if we Knife Juggle it into a Mirror Image, then that's a nice chip damage. Or Mirror Image, Knife Juggle it, Dancing Swords. Oh, okay. Question. You're saying, does the virtual ticket cost anything? Yes, it does. I cannot remember how much. I'm just going to double check. So yeah, it's 25 UK pounds. That's something like $32. Euros is not a huge amount small. Hey, I'm going to take that win. Hooray. I'm totally cool with that. Obviously it's sad not to play a game, but no one minds a free win. There are always times when we disconnect. Oh, I do apologise again, live folks. My viewer, whenever I click viewer list, it goes a little bit stally, so I'm just refreshing my chat window again. Right, finding opponent. So we've seen one loss where we got out-controlled severely by a shaman. A bit of a challenge with this kind of aggro deck, or indeed any aggro deck if you're Russian. Okay, a mage, we might have a mirror match. I'm going second, I get an extra card. Against a mage, I don't mind a counter spell. I don't have any of my sort of classic starters. I can Knife Juggle it into a Haunted Creeper. Frostbolt. Good evening, Moldy. Welcome. Sorry I didn't say hello. Whenever I hit viewer list, it's sort of crashing my chat for some reason. Okay, so against a mage, we don't know what this mage is playing. We could assume it's a mirror. Counter spell feels good. That's going to slow our opponent down somehow. Frostbolts. Ooh, decisions. No, I think I want to hang on to the counter spell. I'm also going to throw back the Knife Juggler and hope that I can grab an Undertaker or some other bits. So I've got a Frostbolt and a Thalnos. Okay, that wasn't going to be going anywhere. So I've lost the ability to try and get the additional early chip. Down goes a Mirror Image. So far, so standard. I'm going to start chipping away at those. Loatheb, excellent, very nice against a Mage. Do I want to be throwing down the Haunted Creeper and start chipping away? I think I do. So I'm going to get my Haunted Creeper down, and then that will let me start tapping away at these, but we're going to see what our Mage friend throws up behind those. That will be the key thing. Golden Mirror Image nonetheless. And just a fireball straight to the face there. Fire Blast, I beg pardon. So this will let us grab a secret into deck. More importantly, it will let us start trading these away next turn. So I'm going to go straight for a Mad Scientist. Frostbolt, note, I'm saving that to try and see if I can use it against something a little bit more dangerous. Thrash says, did you say you got beaten by Shaman? Yeah, absolutely we did. Thrash makes a very good point. This deck is weak against Shaman or anything with lots of early game control. Absolutely. Spirit Wolves, Lightning Storms and Hexes, Thrash points out, are all excellent against this Mage deck that we're playing. And yep, they totally are. Lightning Storms just removes all of the low health minions that we have. Hexes can pick off anything big and nasty. And Spirit Wolves, very much like a Mirror Image, just really slow the game down. So, we've got an Ice Lance to our Scientist, which is a little frustrating because he's prevented us from removing those off the table. A Frostbolt will quickly remove a nasty threat. So here is where I think I'm going to throw into a Frostbolt. Reason for that, we can get those off the table, we've still got the trade, we've still got the minion down, and if I can get the Knife Juggler down next turn, then if this perishes I'll get 2 chip damage. So hanging on in there for that. And other options, we could Knife Juggler into a Thalnos, and that is actually going to be what we can do. However, this is a really good play, because if I throw my Knife Juggler down now and start doing single chip damage to that, then we're going to start drawing cards, which is quite frustrating. So, first play, remove this. Now the question is, do I gun for that straight away? He can tap that and draw a card next turn anyway. I actually think I'm not going to Knife Juggler just yet, but I'm going to Mana Worm into a counter spell. That gives me the buff on there. I'm not going to attack that just yet. I'm not going to feed him cards. I don't really want a Knife Juggler chipping away and doing lots to a couple of single damage to the Acolyte, because then our opponent is guaranteed to be drawing all of the cards. So you'd much rather, if you can, knock out one of those in one go if you can't silence it, because at least that way they're only going to draw one card rather than more cards. This is a card game. Drawing cards in a card game is pretty good. Oh, reloading my chat window again. If you hear a little noise spike, that's some Hunger Games-ness. And if you're wondering what the camera is in the bottom right hand corner, that is Doge Cam. But Doge at the moment is chilling downstairs. Our computer room can get rather warm, so if he wants to come up, he will come up. Okay, so we're in what feels like a nice position here. We are going second, of course, but we do have, broadly speaking, table control. This Acolyte may feed him some more cards. He can of course tap it for 1 damage with his own Fire Blast, knowing that I'll probably remove it with a trade next turn. What have we got for bridging moves? Well, there's nothing wrong with just throwing down a Loatheb next go. It will really slow our opponent up. Holding it for later in the game, when he's only got 4 cards, holding it for later in the game could mean that we sort of disrupt things. But remember, of course, that we do have a counter spell on the table anyway to start with. So that in mind, there's probably... we had a counter spell. Am I still playing Destiny? Yes, I am. Very much enjoying it. I'm just playing a little bit more on the casual side of things now. I would like to potentially, I've got a level 27 Titan. I'd like to do a little bit more with that. I'm going to low tab now, reason for that being that he's got rid of my counterspell. Destiny does not require subscription, however, I'm going to remove that. I have fed in one card, but I just want to get that off the table. So I've now got full table control, and then next turn I do actually have 11 damage I can throw down. I just top that up to 17, so we're getting good. Destiny doesn't require a sub. Xbox One, PS4, PS3, Xbox 360 I do believe. So yeah, max level is 30. I've not done the raid yet. That has been announced with the season pass. That releases early December, and that will give us a new level cap as well. It's good fun. It depends what kind of game you like. It's sort of MMO FPS. A little light on the story in my opinion, but I think there's plenty more that they're going to drop in. Ranjanork says, I hope we see some cards mechanically similar to Loteb. I like unique mechanic cards. Yeah, I really like it. And the interesting thing with Loteb is you can see that Blizzard are experimenting with those, but Loteb, he's kind of not bad. There's no deck in which he's really bad. I don't know if that's just me, but it feels like you can kind of all throw, you can throw him in a lot of decks and he always feels pretty decent. Maybe that's just me. Right, so have I made the right decisions here with regards to control and removal? Well, I've not gone for the Knife Juggler. I have instead queued up these 4 smashes into the face, 14 damage, 11 on the table. I can Knife Juggler and Blood Mage for potentially another 1. No PC Destiny at the moment. Lud, that is true indeed. Okay, mirror image. So our Mage has got some similarness to us going on. 5 out of 7 left to go. Wait a second. Oh, okay, yeah, he did not play anything spell-wise against my Loteb when it hit the table. Thrash says Destiny's fun. Yeah, I get. I mean, you hit level 20 Thrash, and then when you hit level 20, you do. It is sort of MMO FPS, in that what you're trying to do is, of course, hit all of the raids and similar. You're doing your dailies effectively, aren't you? So I can buff that up to get additional attack. Can I remove that Mana Worm? Let's have a think. What's the best way around this? I can remove 2 of those. I can then do a direct trade. Dancing Swords will be quite hard for my opponent to remove, but I may as well Juggler into a Dancing Swords to start with, into a Thanos after that. Ah, there we go. Now that will actually make all the difference, because it means we can save a sheep. In case I get spells, I'm going to sacrifice on a 2-for-1 basis here. That gives me the secret. It gives me a counter spell to protect all this. So we've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We do have lethal. In before Flame Strike, says Thrash. You know what, Thrash, I can see where you're coming from there. But I do have a counter spell, Thrash, let's not forget that. So maybe there was a little method. I'm not going to say it was 100% intentional thinking. And there goes a Frostbolt, and my counter spell ends that. Well played. Good stuff. Okay, so we've shuffled a couple down, we've shuffled a couple up. Oh, what have we got this evening? Besides the loss, we'll get one more game of this in, then we might sneak in something else at the end. Either another ladder deck that you fancy, or we can just go and do a little bit of arena. Continue our arena that you guys picked the other day. So I think we've gone 2-1 outside of the poor opponent disconnect loss, which I'm not going to take as a massive triumph of strategy, tactics and my playstyle. Hey, I'll take what I can get. So Warlock, okay, so aggro versus aggro potentially. Starting card backs, but of course we can't take that for granted. Right, so I've got a mixed start here. I've got spell start, but I've also got death rattle. Sweet. Okay, so we've got a Frostbolt back. That actually gives us a bit more of a spell opening rather than the Death Rattle Undertaker opening. Okay, a Warlock with his hand stuffed full of cards. We've been here before. Not really huge options here, but just playing it straight down the line. Frostbolt I can throw straight up. If he throws down some Zooey type minions, then I'll need to use my Frostbolt wisely. However, the Haunted Creepers aren't actually too bad, because we can just keep throwing those against any mini tanks or things that he pops up. So let's see where we go with those. Okay, got a Fireball. Right, nothing on the table so far, so I'm not going to Frostbolt him just yet. He might be playing Handlock. He might be looking to save cards in his hand and throw down the nasty Twilight Drake and similar, the tanks, all of the sort of golems, the Defender of Argus is, the giants, the sort of more mid to late game deck after stuffing your handful of cards. Down goes a Haunted Creeper. May suggest that he is actually playing aggro after all. We'll have to wait and see. So an immediate Frostbolt will be quite an excessive use on that Haunted Creeper. I'm just going to try and get table position at this point in time and commence the aggro race. What can Warlocks do? Well, they have Hellfire. Hellfire could certainly smite all of this in a hurry. I've got 2 spells that can start buffing up my Mana Worm. Instant 1 trade, a Drain Life. Quite a heavy trade there, but he's managed to remove the nasty card. Now, interesting choice here. I think that really my main shot is the Water Elemental. So with the Water Elemental down, I can really start picking off smaller minions and similar. I could go all out aggro on this for removal. That goes down, we'll get one of those down, and then I'm going to hit with the 2 to the face. Does give him a trading option. Okay, down goes the Tazdingo. Now it is exactly for this reason that the Fireball is so awesome. So Fireball will just nuke this out of the way for us. This is a perfect situation where throwing down Fireball to a minion is actually a very solid option ahead of throwing it to the face. We get in our freeze, 4 minions to 1. Mouldy says, beat a Handlock for the first time the other day with a Control Warrior, it felt so good. Oh, it does. It does when you remove their huge giants for like very low mana, or when you Brawl, and Brawl just shreds their side of the table. I think that the next time I'm going to make a serious effort at ladder, I'm going to mix up Control Warrior with some other decks. Played it a lot, love it. There's some nice new versions of it. And there's the Hellfire that we were concerned about. 3 to war. However, we get all of our spiders out. Note also that the Handlock, the Warlock does benefit because he's got his Nerubian out. However, I can drop a Blood Mage, it gives me 1+ spell damage, and then we throw into a nice powered up Frostbolt. So that clears the table, and our 4 spiders chipping away for mega damage. I say mega, 1 each, but it all stacks up. And as Lud has spotted, we have completed agent negotiations, and Shep is in the house. If you look in your bottom right. Thrash says, always good, feels good on a big rogues. Those and priests are the most annoying for shaman. Rogues are annoying indeed. We've just got ourselves a Boulder Fist Ogre on the table. However, we have lethal. So there we go. Lots of chip. Turn 7. And there we have it. Another win streak, bonus star, and in these early levels of the ladder we are level 18 out of 25. But you can see that this deck, really no nonsense actually. You've got 2 different starts. You can Undertaker it with the Death Rattles, you can Mana Worm it with the other spells, you keep throwing into the face, and then you do need to make some decisions, generally just with the Fireballs. It's not complex. You want to be winning very nicely early, mid-game at latest, and then after that, if you're not won by mid to mid-late game, then you're going to be in some trouble, but really you're doing a lot of damage in the early game. Decisions: do you remove your opponent's minions and trade, or do you hit damage for the face? So thank you very much for tuning in for that Hearthstone half hour of laddering and learning. If you're live, don't go away. We'll do an arena game or two, continuing our arena deck. Just here from the other day, our Hunter, it was 1-1 when we left it. We'll play a few games and see how that gets on. If you are watching this on YouTube, do come and join us live sometime. You can find us at twitch.tv/FailCraft Casts. We go live Monday through Friday at the times in the bottom left. You can always check on @FailCraft Casts on Twitter when we are going live. YouTube.com/FailCraft Casts, as you can see on the left there, has a whole archive, 130-ish episodes of the Hearthstone half hour, give or take a few minutes. Heroes of the Storm, some other fun games as well. It'd be great to go check it out. Let us know what we're doing good. If you think we could improve stuff, please let us know as well. Last but not least, the website, failcraft.org. There you can find a bunch of stuff that doesn't live quite so well in a video. Deck lists,